Merry Christmas. It's officially the Christmas season. I hope you guys had an awesome Thanksgiving. I'm really excited about our speaker this week. Her name is Kim Pollard. She's actually part of the church in Georgia that started Lily Moms. And what a blessing that we have technology that she can speak to us. And so she's just going to be talking about how to weave your kids into the everyday rhythms and traditions of your family, which is especially great with an emphasis on Christmas. I hope this sparks a really good discussion in your groups about how we balance Christmas with our kids, the fun, the joy, the magic, but also just centering it around what Christmas is all about and how we keep Christ in Christmas and what all of that looks like within our family. So I hope it's beneficial to you, and I hope you enjoy.
Good morning, everybody. So something the Lord has taught me this week has been patience, which is funny because I'm at a scenic thing, but it's been hard work being with family, not much family. I was only with 2 people, but Noelle was a mess, didn't sleep, all that stuff, so it made me just, on the edge. And so it was a lot of praying and knowing that God has it under control and just breathing in His Word. Sounds weird, I know. But yeah, so that has been my big thing this week. I know patience is going to be something that I'm going to need this whole month and next month, just with the holidays. It's really hard for us because we're not going to be really doing anything this year. So that's hard for us. We have a big family and we normally do a lot. So patience with the fact that we don't get to see people. I mean, we see them through Zoom, but it's different. So that's what I've been dealing with. So I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving and get to have a good Christmas and just feel calm in the Lord.
Hi everybody, this is Kim Pollard and I am coming to you digitally from Augusta, Georgia, and I am honored to be invited into your digital space for the next few minutes to share with you a little bit about something the Lord has laid on my heart. I am a wife to Bert Pollard. We've been married for 15 years, a little over 15 years, and I have 3 children. I have Wills, who's 11, Benson, who's 9, and Eliza Kate, who is 6 years old. And I think I should start by just sharing, this is important, but I come from a really dysfunctional, broken family. And that is important because when my husband and I began to have children, the minute I found out I was pregnant, I started reading all of the parenting articles and books I could put my hands on because I was determined to break the cycle of brokenness that had been my story. And so I really wanted to offer my children a different childhood, one filled with happiness and joy. And so one of the articles that I read that really stuck out to me was one from a Focus on the Family article. And in it, it was a really short one, but I kept the article. I will try to make sure that y'all can see a copy of it in its entirety, but I want to share a little piece of it with you now. So the author began the article with this question: do you ever wonder what memories your children will treasure when they become adults? I think that is a great question. And even maybe when our time here is done, whoever you're sitting around with, I would love for y'all to chat about that some. Do you ever wonder what memories your children will treasure when they become adults? She goes on to write, I'm quoting her now, she says, years later, as the 2 of you swap your favorite memories, your daughter, back up a little bit. The author is asking the reader to picture throwing your child a really fancy 10th birthday party, okay? And then she says, years later, as the 2 of you swap your favorite memories, your daughter mentions her 10th birthday. You assume she'll rave about the beautiful cake and Sparkle's funny balloon animals, but instead she recalls how much fun it was to ride in the van with you to pick up donuts for breakfast. Not only were donuts a special treat, but the one-on-one time she had with you was also priceless. You sit dumbfounded and wonder what other simple memories she holds dear that you don't even remember. And so moms, that's really what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk about what it means to create those special memories for your children, the memories that kind of sink down into their hearts and that they remember for the rest of their lives. So I've also discovered that the memories that are most dear to my children are the ones that we repeat, that sort of become traditions for our family. And so I would like to share just some practical ways that we've created these rhythms in our own family, and maybe you could find some of them helpful yourself, and you might want to consider to see if any of them fit with how you want to raise your own kids. So I would like to spend the first part of our time together just mentioning some general ways that we have created these rhythms. And then, since we are so close to Christmas, I would love to spend the second part just chatting about some of the special Christmas rhythms that we've created in our family. And I hope that it's practical. I hope that there's some things that you can kind of pull away from it that really speak to you. And let me just also just put this little caveat in there. Because I came from a broken home, most of these ideas came from different sources, from me sitting around a table with other moms, chatting about ways that we can create these meaningful memories for our children. And so if there is anything wise or helpful, there's a good chance it came from somebody else. So don't think that, just know that I've gleaned a lot of these from other people. Some of them have sort of developed organically. And my hope is that as you are trying to think through how to create this or institute some of these for your own family, that you can pick and choose, and maybe they will become an organic sort of recreation as well. Okay, that said, I'd like to start with just some general things that we do to kind of create memories. And so that article really impacted me. And then one of my friends one time recently even has told me that when one of the things that she just longs for, that she hopes that she, quote unquote, inherits from her grandmother, are not the fancy antiques or the expensive silver or things like that. Really, what she longs for and hopes that her grandmother leaves her is this mixing bowl that she remembers making potato salad with her grandmother regularly. And so that's what she hopes to gain. And so there's something about creating memories around special things that kind of draw out that feeling of being at home and being loved, that there has value in that. So that's kind of the first thing that I want to share with you is, I guess, was this birthday plate. So I guess that's backwards, but in 2013, the whole thing's backwards. Sorry about that. And anyways, in 2013, I went to a pottery place and I painted this happy birthday plate. And so now in our family, whenever it is somebody's birthday, they receive their birthday cake, and also their pancakes that we make for breakfast every birthday on this particular cake and plate. And so it's become kind of this special tradition that whenever you come to the table on your birthday, this is sitting at your place. And so that is kind of sweet. Also, we do something called a family fun night. And so these are really spontaneous times when my husband and I don't have anything planned on maybe a weekday night or and it's never regular, but we will just say, it's a family fun night. We're going to have a family fun night. And we will do different things. So we might go on a pajama ice cream run. So everybody will wear their pajamas and we'll drive through and grab some ice cream. Or we might do a wilderness walkabout where we go just for a hike together and go exploring that way. Or let's see, what else did I write down on here? Like we might bake cookies for the neighbors. And just one little note about this, if you're trying to create a sweet memory and you decide to do that, one of the things I would encourage you to do is to remember to be very, very patient. So don't fuss when there are extra shells in the batter or things end up on the floor, that we are going to just be really patient with our children and just create this memory where one day they can look back and be like, that was a really happy time for me. And so you, as a mama, needs to decide ahead of time that you are going to make it as stress-free and fun and sweet as possible, and maybe even throw a little flower and just make it a game to clean it up. But just decide ahead of time. Don't do it in a time when it's really stressful, but decide ahead of time that if we're going to make this a family fun night, we're going to try to make sure it's fun. So that's one idea, is do family fun nights. Another is one of my friends, she takes, when her children got in kindergarten, she took like a large t-shirt and wrote class of 2020 or 20, it wouldn't be 2020, but 2050. I don't know how it would work, 2050 or 2035 on the t-shirt. And so she puts it on them every year. So in kindergarten, the kindergarten would wear the large t-shirt, and then you would take a picture at the end of every year so that by the time that they're a senior in high school, they have a shirt that fits them a little bit better, and then they have some things for their slideshow that's sweet. I thought that was a good idea. Another friend uses a dress. You could use a wedding dress maybe annually that belonged to you or your grandmother, or maybe even just a dress from your own closet that you put on your daughter every year. And you can do the same thing with sons, with a tie and their daddy's shirt, and let them take a picture in them wearing the same thing every single year. And you sort of see the progression of them growing over time, which is a sweet thing. Also, I just want to mention too that you can create meaningful memories just by visiting the same vacation spots every single year. So if you always go to Hilton Head Island and you stay at the same place, those kind of things create memories and rhythms in your children's lives, so that one day when they go back to that place, they have these memories that are sweet, that kind of settle down into their soul. And so that is something I wanted to mention too. Okay, so if you have, for the moms of little girls, one thing that we do is my husband will take my daughter out on a date once a year, usually around Valentine's Day, and they take a picture, and I take a picture of the two of them together, and then my husband writes about their date. And so it would little things like, hey darling, I took you to Chuck E. Cheese and you ordered pizza, and I pulled out your chair and I gave you a rose, and I want you to know what to expect, how to be treated, and like a lady, and what to help kind of build expectations for you. And so he does that every year. She's 6 now. And this other little thing, this idea I got from a friend, are these, it's this little poem with flowers. And I'm gonna read it to you and also share a graphic of it so that you could use it if you wanted. But this is what the poem says. It says, "To our baby girl, each year as you grow, mommy and daddy will buy you a rose. The petals you can store inside until the day you become a bride. On that very special day, daddy will then give you away. The petals gathered all the while should be scattered down the aisle. Your keepsake basket will hold a very special something old." And so you can see Eliza Kate has some of her flowers in there. That's my daughter. So just a sweet way to kind of, when she makes that covenant with her husband one day, that there is just a reminder too that her daddy has been pouring into her and showing her what to expect as she grows. So another thought that I just wanted to mention too is that the music that you listen to in your car and in your home also creates that kind of grounding experience and those memories too that your children kind of cling to. And you know what this is like. When you listen to a song that was emotional or has a special meaning to you, it automatically takes you back to all those feelings that you had when it held its meaning originally. And so music is a powerful tool as well that you can listen to over and over. If you have a playlist, you can listen to the same playlist and kind of create that in their minds and hearts. Okay, also just a note. It's not just the things that we do, but the things that we say that make an impression on our kids. And there's this teacher that I really look up to. His name is Charles Spurgeon, and he once said, I'm quoting him now, "The voices of childhood echo throughout life. The first learned is generally the last forgotten." And that is so true. I've seen things too, just about how our voices sort of become their inner critic, and so they learn to see themselves through our eyes. And so that kind of matters too. It matters a great deal. Bert and I, one of the principles in our home is that we really want them to look to Christ alone and to allow him to be their standard and not other people. And so there are lots of ways we do this, but I just wanted to share one that we've sort of created a rhythm around, and that is that we don't allow our children to compare or share their grades with each other or with their classmates. And so it's because we really want their standard to be the Lord. And so we really want them to work as though they're working for the Lord. And if they are doing their very best, then we want to be satisfied with that, and we want them to be satisfied with that. So one of the ways that we celebrate that is, now remember, I have a middle schooler my 11-year-old is in 6th grade, and then I have a 3rd grader and a 1st grader. So when they get their report cards, the very first thing we do when it's report card day is I tell them, I'm like, hey guys, here are your report cards. And before we look at them, I just want you to know I've seen all 3 of you work very, very hard. And because you've worked very hard, we're gonna go get ice cream. I'm not even gonna look at their grades. We're gonna celebrate the hard work that you've done, because that's what's matter. I've seen y'all work as though you're working unto the Lord, and we're gonna celebrate that. So we go get ice cream, we look at the report cards later, I let them look at their own. I just really don't want to create an environment where there's competition among siblings or even friends. And so we're careful about that, but that's a rhythm we've created. And I think that, and I hope that they remember that fondly, that we've made sure to just kind of keep pointing them back to Christ. Okay, so let's see. I think now, if it's okay, I would like to transition into talking a little bit about Christmas. And I want to say, first of all, little children have no concept of time, right? So my daughter she's 6, but she has a hard time. She was born in April, and she has a hard time understanding how somebody born like in October isn't necessarily younger than she is because she was born in April. So time just is hard. So if you're not familiar with these, or maybe you remember them from your childhood, or maybe you've used them yourself, but one of the things that I think is super fun around Christmas time is this Advent chain. And I made this right before I got on to record this talk. And I'm going to send you the link to it too. I got it off the internet. And we make these and then put them around our Christmas tree, and these chains count down to Christmas. But the other thing they have are this is day 1, they have some names of God. So this one is Alpha and Omega, and there's a Bible verse on there. So depending on the age of your children, you can talk about the name of God or the characteristic of God, and you can even maybe take them to the Bible and show them where it is in the scripture. And so you have a way to kind of prepare their hearts for Advent or the coming of Christ. And so these are, this is just a sweet way to do it. And I printed these off my own printer and did it. And my kids love this. So this is a special thing. They usually want to keep the very last, the Christmas one on Christmas Day, and hang it on our tree every year. Because the other thing we do is we have 2 trees. We have a smaller one with all of their homemade special ornaments on that they get from school or preschool or that we've made at home. And then we have another bigger one with ornaments, grown-up ornaments that I like on them. So we do this. It's a sweet thing. I will give you the link to that. The other thing that we do is to prepare for Christmas is there's a sweet thing called a giving manger, a giving manger. And this has become a favorite tool in our house. And it comes with a book that you read to them before you begin the Christmas season. But this is all hay, and you can make this too. You don't have to buy the giving manger, but you can make something similar. And every time they do an act of kindness, you allow them to put 1 or 2 pieces of hay in the manger to get ready for baby Jesus. And so it's a way to teach them to think about others in a time in an age when it's really easy just to think about themselves. So we really, really love this. And one of the things that we do is that we fill it up and we hide the baby Jesus. On Christmas morning, what we do is we wrap this up, and at breakfast time, before they open any of their gifts, the youngest child opens the smallest gift. And we talk about how Jesus was the very greatest gift the world has ever gotten and received. And so this is a sweet thing that we do that they also really love. And also, not to forget that on Christmas morning, we give Jesus some pancakes, because I want them to remember who we're celebrating and why. The other thing that we do that is, somebody else shared with me when our children were tiny that our kids have loved, is we wrap. So when we put our gifts in a room with a Christmas tree, we wrap the doorways to that room with Christmas paper. And so when they come down in the morning, they are not allowed to see their gifts right away. they have to wait until after we've had breakfast and done our last devotion and opened the baby Jesus and talked about all that. And then we let them bust through the wrapped room, and it has become a sweet, sweet tradition. It's just sweet. The joy that's there is precious, and so we really, really love that. I also want to share some of our favorite Christmas movies. Now, these are DVDs because we usually watch them in the car, and but I'm sure you could find them on digital subscriptions. But this one is a really sweet one, Punchinello. It's precious, and it teaches them that all of this whole town is trying to create or give gifts to their maker, and the maker keeps trying to tell them, all I really wanted was you, and which has a really sweet Christmas message to it. And then this one, if your kids are a little bit older, it's PG, but this is called The Star, and it's funny. It's got a little bit of crass, bathroom humor, things that little kids would like. But at the end of the day, it's a sweet story about Jesus. And then this one right here, Why Do They Call It Christmas by Buck Denver. So we really enjoy that one as well. And I just want to say in this one, Why Do They Call It Christmas, they talk about the original St. Nicholas, and they don't, if you like to do Santa Claus with your children, they don't ruin that for them. But I wanted to mention that. I also, let's see, I think I remember having little kids too, and just sort of being panicky about what to do about Santa Claus. And so if you are sitting in that space too, and you're like, I'm not sure what to do, I just want to share with you where my husband and I landed on that. And again, I just weigh this and just sort of decide. The beauty of being moms to our specific children is we get to make those choices for them and get to decide what's best. And so I just wanted to share with you what we did. So when I was panicky and trying to decide and reading everything I could, I came across another blog article, and I tried desperately to find this again so I could share the link with you, but I could not. Google failed me and I couldn't find it. If anybody knows what I'm talking about and has seen it, you can please share it with your friends. But basically in the blog article, she was saying this is how she handled it with her young kids. She told their kids that there was a secret about Santa, and that when they figured out what the secret was, that they could come ask mom and dad. And so the children would come to her and ask, does Santa Claus have a key to everybody's house? And she would say, no, that's not the secret to Santa, but good thinking, and keep thinking, and come back to me if you think you know what it is. But the caveat is that because there's a secret about Santa, they could only talk to it with mom and dad. They couldn't talk to it with their brothers and sisters. They couldn't talk to it about their friends. And so eventually the kids would figure it out, and they would come and be like, Mom and Dad, are you something? The connection, they made the connection finally. And she said that at that point they would tell the children the truth, like, great job, you figured out the secret of Santa. And it's a giant game that all of America plays. For the most part, most of America, we play this game. That's why strangers in the grocery store ask you about it. And it's just this big game that we play, and it's a lot of fun. And you figured it out. And so, and then they talk about who the real St. Nicholas is, and things like that. So really a sweet way to keep the magic and fun in it, and also just make sure that you're maintaining some integrity in your relationship with your child, which that's where I think the panic was in my own heart, because my parents lied to me constantly, and it ruined my credibility with them. And that's part of the reason why I just pushed so hard against how I wanted to raise my own kids. I wanted to do different. And so we've tried that. We did that with our own children, and when they figured it out, we would talk to them about it. Now, Eliza, Kate, my 6-year-old, still sometimes they would just reject what we were telling them and decide they were going to believe anyway, and that was okay. But because the important thing to me was that they were always hearing the truth from my husband and I when it came down to it. And actually, my husband and I have made a pact with all of our children. And I would say that this is probably the single most important parenting decision that we've made with our children. And I would go back and do it 1,000 times again. It has been so good, and I'll explain why. But the pact we made with our children, ever since they could talk, was this. It was, we will never lie to you, And if you'll never lie to us, like we're not going to lie to each other. We're going to establish a foundation of truth right now. And it has been, the fruit of that has been so, so sweet. But what it means is that we had to tell them the truth when they came to us finally and asked about these things. And I have a quick funny story. My oldest, when he realized that Santa, the truth about Santa, he was like, so Mom, does that mean that you are the tooth fairy too? And I was like, yeah, buddy, you figured it out. I am too. And he was like, well, if that's true, can you take a picture of yourself wearing your wings with your wand and at tonight so that I can see what you look like dressed as a tooth fairy? And I'll show you what I did. So, because the truth is, when they're little, let's still have fun, right? Like we can still have fun with them and bring joy into their lives, but still maintain just this modicum of just honesty. Like that was foundation in our lives. And the reason why that's so important is I'm starting to see the fruit of it now. So that same little boy is now 11 years old and he is in middle school. And so there are times when I need the truth from him and he doesn't lie to me. And it's uncomfortable and it's hard sometimes to ask him, like, I need you to tell me the truth. And he will pause and through tears and will tell me the truth because we've established this foundation and it's been really important in our lives. And so that also means I don't tell my children that, I don't help them look for their candy, their chocolate if I ate it. Like I tell them that I ate it, which means I have to have really uncomfortable confessions to them sometimes. Or I don't tell them that I called the zoo and they said they were closed if it means I just didn't want to go. I have to tell them the truth. And I don't regret it at all. Like I'm seeing fruit of it. Okay, so my phone died for a second there, but I'm back and I am just going to close now. And I just really, I forgot to tell you that one of the Christmas things that one of my friends does is she puts annual letters in stockings for her children. So she will write a letter to her kid at the end of the year and just mention some sweet things and memories they've had. And she keeps them in the stocking year after year so they have a record over time of sort of the way their years have gone, which is sweet. I love that idea, and part of the ways I've tweaked it a little bit is I realized that Christmas was really busy for us, and so I decided to use that for Valentine's Day instead. And so I will write letters to my children at Valentine's Day, and I bought them little mailboxes, and I put them in there, so they have a record of that every year. And as I was preparing for this time with y'all, I read one of the letters that I'd written to my daughter, and in it, I recalled when she was 3 years old that we were rushing around. I was rushing her around on errands, trying to get from place to place. And at one point, she stopped me and she was like, Mama, it's just hard to walk on little feet. And I still remember how her words pierced me, and they still do to this day, because it reminded me that the importance of slowing down and not expecting too much of our children, because it really is hard to walk on little feet. And so I try to make sure that my expectations and even the rhythms that we move through are enough for her to handle. So I guess I just want to close now. If I could be there with y'all, I would encourage you. I would tell you, good job. You are making great choices for your kids. If any of this was helpful, thanks be to God. If it wasn't, if you're like, oh, that feels like too much, that's okay too. I hope that it does kind of prick your heart some, and maybe encourage you to think about things in a different way, and just to remember that the rhythms that we create for our families matter, and that they will carry them with them for the rest of their lives. And so my prayer for y'all is that you would go forth and that you would find great joy in the works the Lord has given your hands to do. Thanks so much. I hope y'all have a happy Christmas.